Hey everyone, welcome back to Redbanditracing. Welcome back to the channel. We got the sledge here, and if you guys have been checking out our community post, I did post a picture of the sledge missing the motor, and that is because we broke the motor. So I'm gonna take the body off real quick, and yeah, I had to take the motor out and I had to send it to Traxxas. I'll show you a little clip that I took before I sent it out. We broke the shaft off the motor. Now, I don't know how that broke. It didn't take that harsh of a landing. Traxxas said they deemed it as defective, so I'm wondering if there was just something wrong with the motor, and maybe that's what's been causing a lot of the gear problems, because I've never seen a shaft break off a motor like that before. I'll try and find a clip of when it broke, and I'll put that down here so you guys can check that out too while we're talking.
He is wasting no time to get back to these ramps. He's going for the consecutive. Gets it. He does flip over. Oh, there's click.
But I sent it in the Traxxas, and they went ahead and sent me a brand new motor. This is part number 3483. It's a 2000 kV motor. And they went ahead and, without me asking, they sent me a brand new Hardened Spur Gear. I'm sorry, Pinion. And that is part number 6483X. And they also sent me a Spur Gear. And this is part number 9652. Now, I'm not sure if my Spur Gear is damaged, so I'm going to check that out when we take it out. But if I don't like the way the face looks on the gear, I'm going to go and replace it, but I am going to replace it with the one that I already previously installed with which is the 9652X, and that's going to be the Hardened. And just so you guys know, this is a 52 tooth, and as for the Pinion, it is a 13 tooth. So we're going to go and put that in. But the big reasoning for doing this video is we're going to be upgrading the motor mount to the M2C. This is part number M2C 1413. So this is for the stock rearward facing, I believe. I'm guessing because it's facing the rear. Yeah, I had to look it up real quick. This is for the forward facing. So let's take a look at this motor real quick, because it's interesting how they call it the forward facing. And I'm sorry for the background noise. If it gets too loud out here, I'm going to move it inside. But they call this forward facing, and I don't know how this is forward. This seems like it's facing the rear, but this is for the forward facing. If you guys have a different setup and you want it rearward facing, go ahead and check out M2C Racing. They do have a different kit for that. It's going to come with everything actually organized by how you install it. So this should be a pretty easy install. So we're going to go and do that together. While I'm in here, I'm also going to replace the wing, and I'm going to tighten up the front hubs. I think they came loose again. You can actually see that they're pretty loose, and sometimes those screws that go on the top of the hub, they are captured with a nut, and they do come loose. So I'm going to make sure that those are nice and tight. And yeah, let's go ahead and get going on this before it gets too loud out here. All right, guys, I'm going to keep this in frame as much as possible. I'm going to do things a little bit differently with this repair. I'm kind of just going to go with it and talk to you guys about it, what's going on. I did notice some damage. So let me flip this over, and wow. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I did not see that before. Wow. Right here, just like on the last chassis, right here. This chassis was stressed out. Again, I don't know why Traxxas is using this type of aluminum for this kind of car. They should have used a stronger aluminum or used plastic, because come on, guys, this is getting old. I don't even know what else to say about this. I love the truck, but for those of you just getting into it, you need to do upgrades. There's no way to get around it. You have to do the upgrades for this thing to be worthy of taking a beating. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to, they're bashing it. So, but in saying that, I'm going to go ahead and get this chassis brace off, and then we're just going to go ahead and start. I'm going to keep all these parts aside. That way I know what went where. Pull this guy out. Right. And if you guys did notice, I did take the skid plate off. A lot of dirt gets caught into this skid plate. Every time I have to do something on this, I have to remove it. So it got to the point where I didn't even want it on there anymore. And also, to be honest, if the chassis is going to bend like this, what's the purpose of the skid plate? I mean, to keep the bottom looking pretty? I mean, it doesn't look too pretty when it's bent. So, all right, I got that off. So I'm going to flip it over. And don't worry about the drive shafts. Just let those hang. I mean, they may pop out. You just have to pop them back in. Let me resecure this battery tray real quick. There we go. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep this in frame as much as possible. All right, so I'm going to take this tape off, which this really does help. Keeping a lot of the debris from going inside to that spur gear really does help. All right, got those out, and we're going to switch over to a 2.0 if I can grab it. And we're going to take that lash block out, which honestly, I don't even know why I left it in there. That should have been one of the first things I took out, because you can take this out and create your own mesh if you want to. I just left this in to leave it in, but honestly, I should have just took it out. All right, so here's a spur gear, and I wanted to look at this before I replaced it. And yeah, I do not like the way it looks. Some of these teeth are kind of banged up, so I don't know if you can see it. Let's see here, I'm gonna try and get close. I'm gonna zoom in for you guys a little bit. So that's why I got a replacement just in case, and it's a good thing I did because I don't like this. So I'm gonna put this aside. We're gonna go ahead and replace that once we're all done here. But I'm gonna get everything nice and cleaned up. All right, I'll flip this back over. Take that guy out because we're done with it. Also, what I'm going to do is, just to make it easier, which will make it easier, if you go ahead and remove this skirt, because it's going to give you a little bit more room to work with, and there's not that many screws that hold it in. So, all right, got that off. So now I'm going to get in here, do some cleaning. All right, so now that I got that all done, got that nice and cleaned up and ready to go. What we're going to do is we're going to put this aside, and we're going to go over what's in this bag. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up, but I'm going to put it aside in the order that it's in, because they actually lay this out in the order that they want you to do it. So we're going to open this up. Now right here is, oh man, they really do a great job with the packaging on this. Okay, these are the tools that they give you. So right here is going to be your drill bit. That's what you're going to drill through your chassis. And this bit right here creates a taper for the chassis, so that way your screw sets in flush. We'll show you guys that. And here's the bracket that you're going to actually screw into the chassis, and you're going to create that pilot hole, so you can mount the bracket. Sorry for the background noise. All right, let's go and open the next one up. All right, here we got, I believe this is the bracket that goes on the back of the motor. It helps to support the back of the motor. That way there's not so much stress on the front. It kind of like has something to sit on. So I'm glad they thought of that. That's actually pretty cool. So let me go and pop this open, put it aside. It does come with a zip tie, and I believe you use the zip tie to strap this to the motor before you install it. It actually tells you right here too. Use stock motor mount screws. All right, I'll put that right there, right on top of it. And right here, let's see here, this looks like the top. Yeah, this is the top. This is going to lay right over, directly over your spur gear. Man, this is really nice machining. Really nice machining. Comes with all the screws that you'll need. All right, let's get the next one open. All right, okay, here we got the blocks, and that's what's going to go sit on your bearings. So we'll show you guys that. Okay, here's one of the mounts. Wow, you got just feeling this. This is such precision. I really love the way they did this. I don't know why I didn't switch to this sooner. This is really nice. I mean, it better be nice because this kit, I believe, was between $90 and $98. It's somewhere around there. So it's not cheap. And here's your blocks. So we're going to put that right there. All right, and last, we have the other bracket for the actual motor. Get that popped open. All right, got your screws and everything that you're going to need. Put that away. Wow, that's so nice. Yeah, that's what your motor goes in. That's pretty much your motor. That's how you're going to set your lash. Fits in it just like that in one way. Wow, that's really nice. I'm really impressed with how they did this. Oh, I love that right there too. I don't know if you guys can see that. I was wondering what that, because I've seen guys put this in, but I never really seen it. So they put a hole right here. You see it right there? So once you get the mesh just where you want it, you can tighten that screw right there, and that's just an extra security right there so that the mesh doesn't move. You'll have screws over here to hold that motor in place, but that's going to keep it from moving at all. So that's nice. We're going to go ahead and install this so that we can make that first hole. Now what you're going to want to do is, just like it says, this side to chassis. So with the text, you're going to face that down. So what you're going to use, the hardware that you took off. Install that real quick. All right, get that one started. Get that one started. Then I can run them in. Now just run them in until they stop. Don't crank them down. Just like that. I'm going to try and use the stand as much as I can. But I want to make sure you guys see it. All right, now that that's in, I want to go and drill a hole. Just like that. I'm going to blow all these shavings away. Now I'm going to take this bracket back off. All right. Okay, we got that off. Now we don't need the bracket anymore, but we'll save it because it's a nice little tool to have in case we want to do this again. All right, that's nice clean hole. So let's flip it around. And this side has don't worry about the back. It's going to have some burrs right there from the drill. We're not too worried about that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to install our other bit. So we're going to put that in there, and we're not going to go fast. Just like that. Now let me find the screw that's going to go in there. Pop that in there. It's almost there. So upside down, it's going to go in like that. So you're going to have to put in that smaller screw. So that's the screw. As you can see, I'm going to go down just a little bit more because it's still poking out just a little bit. So let's go down a little bit more. That. And that's about flush. That's actually perfect right there. I'm not going to move that anymore. It's perfect. Let me get you a close up. That's pretty much what it looks like. It's a nice little bit that they give you. All right, let's start with installing the back mount. Since it's in the back, it's going to make it a little bit easier. That's going to be this one. And they already give you the screws that are already installed right there, so you can just undo those. And what we are going to do, not right now, we'll do this at the very end, but I'm going to run some Loctite through it, but I'm going to wait to the very end. All right, let's take those out. Just warning you which way this goes. Obviously, it's going to go this way because the bearing is going to sit in right there. So we're going to put it in right just like that. All right, so let's flip it over and get that put in real quick. Again, I'm trying to use the mount, but I may not be able to use, I'm sorry, the stand, but I may not be able to use the stand. All right. All these should be your 2.5 hexes. Okay. These actually thread in really nice. Like I said, we're going to get these in. They're tapered, so they're not going to go anywhere once they're down, but I'm not going to tighten them. They'll hold themselves. So I'll just keep it nice and loose like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other one and I'm going to do the same thing. This one's going to go in just like this. Why this kid's crying? It's Saturday. What are you crying for? All right, get that one in. That one, and then we'll get the little one that we just made, which is your 2.0. If you guys are wondering, if you guys want to see another video on how to do this, it's not the best video. M2C makes their own video on how to put this in. They're funny guys. It's worth taking a look at. Just on YouTube, just look up M2C S series motor mount install, and they actually show you how to do it right there. There's some pretty funny guys, but they make such great products. It's kind of hard for me to want to buy them because of how much they cost. But you also got to think of how much it costs every time you ruin a Spur Gear or every time you ruin a Pinion, and how much time this will save you, because as you guys can see right now, that's how it looks. This keeps everything in place. When your chassis bends, you're not going to lose mesh, and that's the main reason why I'm doing this. The next thing I'm going to replace, if this chassis ends up bending again, I will get the M2C chassis. All right, now that we've got that installed, now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and get our Spur Gear going, and I think we're going to have to go ahead and replace it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick off camera. If you guys want to know how to do this, I did make another video when I went ahead and serviced the center diff. So if you want to go check that out, I'll show you exactly how to do it. These drive cups are starting to wear out a little bit. I might go ahead and put my TRX ones in there. All right, guys, scratch that. I do not have the TRX. Actually, they don't make TRX for the center differential. I have the TRX ones for the front and rear diffs, which I might use, but I didn't know that M2C also makes drive cups, and wow, they make some really nice ones. You guys need to check them out. They actually capture one side, so the axle can't pop out, and they're hardened steel. Those are going to be worth a try. I'm going to have to try those. But let's go and move on. I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to switch out the Spur Gear real quick, and we'll move on. But I'm going to use these at a different time because I'm not ready to put these in. All right, guys, we are back. All right, so we got that replaced. If you guys are wondering why I didn't use the 9652, it's because I don't like these at all. Now, this is the same problem I had with the Max. These are made out of like a cheap pot metal, and these don't withstand a lot of force, especially if you're using a hardened pinion. If you use a hardened pinion, it's going to damage the Spur Gear, and vice versa. If you're going to use a hardened, you got to use a hardened both ways. You can't just use one, otherwise you're going to tear right through this, which is exactly what I did on the Max, which is why I have to also replace that today. So if you guys are going to go with hardened, I highly suggest going with hardened. Hot Racing makes a nice one, but so does Traxxas. These are really nice. I'm wondering if M2C makes them, because they make a lot of cool stuff. But that's what we're going to be using. So let's go ahead and get this in there. Oops, don't drop it in there. Make sure that axle's in real quick first. We're going to get that. I'm going to put that right there. I'll leave it. Don't drop it in. All right. Pick this one up. I want to make sure that this one's in. Okay, we're going to get that in there just like that. Perfect. All right. Now we got that guy in there. That looks really nice. Now what we're going to do is, here we have our, I guess you can call them shims. They hold this in place. They hold those bearings in place. I would put the numbers on the inside. There is a lip right here, so that's what the bearing's probably going to sit on. Let me check. I have not had to put these in yet. So you're gonna put the lettering on the inside where this lip is, because that's gonna sit right over the bearing just like that. Yeah, they're the same size, same thickness, so it doesn't matter which side you put them on. All right, we're gonna put that on. Now let's go ahead and get our top cover. Here's our top cover, and our top cover is gonna go on just like that. All right, let's go get these started. Like I said, I will be putting Loctite on this, just not right now. I want to make sure that everything sits in the way that it's supposed to be in before I start locking everything down. All right, that's looking really nice so far. Yeah, that looks really nice. Really nice. All right, that looks good. We are going to go ahead and get this piece mounted on, because what's going to happen is these bottom holes are going to line up with these bottom old motor mounts right there, and you're going to put the original flyhead screws in from your mount from this guy right here. Let's see, let's go ahead and just, I don't want to zip tie it yet because I want to see it go in. Okay, it does go in just with a little bit of force. Okay, so if that's right there, then let me put it up for you guys so you guys can see. That's how it looks right there. Sorry if it's getting a little sunny out, but it's going to go in there just like that. So I am going to go ahead and throw a zip tie on there, because what's going to happen is when you guys have to take the motor out, you're going to leave the zip tie on, and sorry about that noise, guys. So this is all right. I'm not going to make it tight, but it's going to go on like that. There you go, just like that. Make sure I have that lined up. Let's move it forward just a little bit. There we go. All right, so what I did was I went ahead and tightened the zip tie. I did not take the adhesive off the back for this double-sided tape. I'm just going to leave it on there, just that way if I ever have to take this off again, I don't have to worry about it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pinion. Got my pinion here. We're going to get this put on. And we're not going to tighten it all the way, but we're going to get it started. All right. Already has Loctite on it. Let's get this on here. Man, I knew it was going to be sunny today, but not this sunny. It's important to get that pinion set screw dead center. You want it coming loose and moving around. That's pretty dead center right there. All right. So I'm not going to tighten up too much. All right, got that all on there. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to slide this in carefully, just like that. And you can tell that it's off right there a little bit if you guys can see that. It's definitely off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have to move it in quite a bit. So I'm going to move it in as much, I'm going to take it back out and move it in as much as I can. Actually, I already should have known that because I remember putting these on a couple different times. They almost go all the way down. They go down pretty far. All right, let's try that. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think I can go down any further. So teeth are lined up, so I'm happy with that. Make sure that's cranked all the way down. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Loctite. I'm going to start Loctiting this down on the motor. If you can make sure you guys see that. All right. Whoops! Don't lose your screws. All right. Come on. There we go. I don't know what happened there. Put a little bit of Loctite on this guy. Do not want these coming loose. Okay. Make sure they're nice and cranked down. Perfect. Everything looks good. All right, now we're going to go and put our motor back in correctly. So, yeah, that's the bottom shifted a little bit. All right, so now we got that in. Let's get our screws ready. Now the top ones you're going to put in are these guys right here. I'm sorry, the 2.5. Those are the ones that are flat because you want it going flat. You don't want to use the tapered ones. So they're going to go right down in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of Loctite on these. I put a little bit too much right there, so I'm going to share it with the other one. All right. A little bit of Loctite on those. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this guy right here. This one, you're going to put that little washer that's supplied with it. And I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on this one. Take a little bit off. And this one's actually going to go at the very bottom because it acts as a kind of like a stopper. I'll show you guys what I mean. I'm just going to get it all the way down. All right, let's go ahead and set our mesh. Let me put a tire in here so you guys can see it a little bit better. So now what we're going to do, we're going to push the motor all the way in. You can see how it slides now. I'm going to push that all the way in. Make sure these are snug, just a little snug. And back it out. Back it a little more. Nope. Let me lose it just a little bit. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, guys, I am going to put these screws in real quick. And I'm not going to tighten them down. I just want to snug them. It's going to help keep the motor stable while I'm doing this. Like that. There we go. Now let's go ahead and set this mesh. I'm going to go a little further out. Okay. I actually like that. See how that sounds. Actually sounds pretty good. So let's go ahead and crank these down. And this bottom one, I'm going to crank this one down. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. Now I'm going to crank these ones down. You don't have to worry about these ones actually coming out. All right. All right, now I got those tight. Now I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to bring it close right here. So this guy right here, this screw right here, tightens this whole the slider down. That way the mesh is secured not just by these screws, but by this one too. So it assures that you're not going to lose your mesh. All right, now we got that in. I don't know if you guys can hear that. There's a cat out here that's not happy. Okay, so now what we're going to do, now that we got those tight, I'm going to kind of take these out one by one and put a little bit of Loctite on them. I'm just going to go like this, put a little Loctite on them, and then run them down. And I'm going to do that for each one, and then I'm going to take these extra screws out, they're a little bit longer. I want to put them in the center here, right here. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and put Loctite on the bottom ones, some of the other screws that I had replaced. Got the bottom all done. Let's flip it over. But okay, we got everything done. If we hold the motor, Got that's really good right there. Let's go ahead and plug the motor in. Oof. Actually, you know what? Well, that's weird. You would think that everything would be lined up, but it's not. It's actually the other way around, but that's okay. Do it just like that. All right, we got that in. All right, now as far as the fan goes, we're gonna have to put a different fan on this because this fan, I'm not sure how we're gonna get this to mount on it. Actually, you know what? I know what's gonna work. We put the same fan mount. It's made by Castle. It'll actually fit this just perfect, and I should be able to take the fan out of this housing and save the housing, but you can remove these fans from here though. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy one of those, that way I can put a fan on this. But looks like that's all done, so we'll just keep this wire right there for now, for later. And let's go ahead and flip this back over real quick, like that. Actually, no, let me get this tire out of here now, because I don't need it. Let's get the stand back in here. Let's put this on the stand, flip it the other way, carefully. And let's go and put this skirt back on. This was actually a very easy install. It didn't take that long. I wish they had better instructions on how to put this in, because I think some people putting this in for the first time, you know, it's gonna be a little bit, you know, misleading where some of the screws go. But just watch where you put them. Obviously, if they're too long, don't use them, because especially for the motor, you don't want to put a long screw in that motor because it's going to go right through that motor, and you don't want to hurt any of the interiors of that motor. Now, obviously, before I run it again, I will put a piece of tape over here, because this really does help, guys. If you want to put some tape, get a little closer, put a little tape over here. That helps get the debris, keeps the debris from going inside. So that really helped. Now, like I said, I am not also going to be using the skid plate anymore. And I think it's just because when I have to work on this, all this has to come off. And I got tired of taking this on and off every time I had a problem. So I'm just going to leave it off. That's fine. This front RPM bumper has worked great. You must pick one up if you guys have a Sledge. That thing is going to save you from tearing up the front of your bumper. And that'll do it for the motor. Man, that looks nice, guys. Look at this. That's the mesh that you want. You want to be able to hear it just a little bit like that. I was able to get exactly the way that I wanted it. I wish I could do that with the Max, but I'm not sure, guys. You guys let me know. The Max 2.0, is there a different mounting system for that? Because I haven't been able to find one. They do have the pins that go in to lock the motor in place for the mesh, but it just feels too sloppy. Like some of that mesh needs to go away. But now that that's all in, I got those other screws in. What you're gonna do is, I just waved at my neighbor Nate down there. So if you're watching this, Nate, make sure you give this video a like. But yeah, that's gonna work out great. I put those extra screws in top. This is not gonna go anywhere. Once that Loctite dries after 24 hours, this is gonna be ready to go. Everything's nice and locked up, nice and tight. These screws, make sure these screws are nice and snug. That way when they dry, they're not gonna go anywhere. Wow. This is a must, guys. If you have a Sledge, you need to go this route. This is really going to save you. This looks great. I'm so excited. Oh yeah, look at that. I am so excited. This is going to be nice. I am going to replace the drive cups. I think M2C makes them. I'm not sure if they make them for the center though. So I'm going to research that a little bit, but you guys let me know. The center drive cups, are they the same as the outer? I haven't looked it up yet, but I will. Let me know in the comments if M2C makes them for this. I will definitely use it, but I will definitely end up putting my TRX cups in once these wear out. But they've actually held up nice. There's no wear marks on them. They've actually done a pretty good job. The back is a little bit worn, but not too bad. I did want to show you the hub extenders. I got these from Hot Racing. I'll leave a part number down in the description. I put these on because we went ahead and went with the armor backflips, and these tires worked great. These are really nice tires, but they touch the arms. They're really close, so what you have to do is you have to get extenders. I got the M2C does make them, but I got these Hot racing makes them really nice. And I don't know how to show you guys how to, I'm not going to show you guys how to install them. It's the same way. You take the set screw from inside, you loosen it, pop the pin out, pop the new ones on, tighten the set screw back down, you're done. They're fairly easy to install. But also what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to, later on, I'm going to put a little hole in the side skirt here so I can zip tie the wiring right there. That way the wiring stays nice and tucked away. So I think I'm going to do that next. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that right now for you guys. All right, so I got my drill. I'm going to go ahead and put that probably right here. There we go. Clean that up a little bit. Just a simple little zip tie. I'm actually going to put this in here too because I don't want that floating around while I'm driving it. There you go. Just like that. You don't want that too tight. Next thing I'm going to do real quick while you guys are on here, and then I'll show you guys the car. When it's all done, I'm going to replace this wing real quick. I don't know about you guys, but if you land on this wing enough, you really tear this wing up. If you guys are wondering, it is 9517. Let's see, what does it come with? Well, it comes with some parts. It comes with a new brace right there to mount the screws. Cool, and new screws. Well, I'm not going to use the screws. I'm not going to use the brace because I got my own. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. All right. Make sure that's cleaned up. You want everything to sit nice and flat. Let's go and throw this bad boy on real quick. Taking some of those harsh landings really bent up that wing. I hate when the wing gets bent up. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but sometimes I don't even like looking at my car after I do that. Ooh, that looks so nice, guys. That looks nice. Now it's nice. Look at that. I'll show you guys out of the sun, but look at that. Now it's nice and lined up. That's looking clean again. I don't know if you guys can see that before and after. And I'm just going to throw this on real quick, and I'll be right back with you guys. All right, so it's all done. Replaced the wing. I know you really can't see the difference, but this one's actually pretty beaten up, which is kind of hilarious because the eRevo 2.0 took way more of a beating landing on this back wing, and the Sledge's wing could not take it. This thing gets bent so easily. So I don't know. I kind of want to put an eRevo wing on this, even though it may not look right, but it might last longer. Got the new wing on. I did went ahead and put the Hot Racing hex nuts on. I just wanted to try them out to see how they looked and how they went on. They actually go on really nice. I actually kind of like them. I just wish they were green. But the Sledge is ready to go. Got everything zip tied down, everything's secure, mounts ready. All I got to do is buy a fan, and this thing's ready to rock and roll again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll make sure I put all the parts and everything down in the description. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. It really would help the channel. We're trying to get to 5,000, and then we're trying to go above and beyond from there. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.